Amazing! Welcome to another episode of the Get Momentum for Online Entrepreneurs podcast with me, your host, Penny Elliott. This is the show where we match the woo with the do. So it's your perfect mix of mindset and strategy to have fast success in your online business so you can finally live the life you thought you were going to when you first set up your business. And today I have the awesome Steve Larsen, and how I came across him was at Funnel Hacking Live in Florida, and I was sitting in this all-American conference, I guess, and it was just blowing my mind. And then Steve got on the stage and just tore it apart. I couldn't believe how much energy there was. I thought surely at one stage he is going to like pass out from the energy and the pure volume that was coming from him. And I think I probably took about half a notebook of notes, and then you just keep popping back up, and then became a major part of the one funnel away challenge that ClickFunnels has. And then I've sort of been following along and saw that you've branched out on your own, and it was like this massive move for you, coming from being, now I probably haven't quite got this right and I'm sure you'll correct me, being like an employee at ClickFunnels, and then just being like, I'll do it for every new project that came through, and just becoming like totally indispensable and working your way right up through the company and now doing your own thing. So welcome.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited. Appreciate it.
I'm sure you've got a much more formal introduction of how you help people and what you do. So off you go.
Yeah, it's totally fun. I build a lot of funnels, and that's what I was doing at ClickFunnels. And I was a huge ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson fanatic prior to ever working there. And then when I got there, that's very accurate. I raised my hand for everything. I had a drill sergeant in the Army tell me, as well as several other coaches prior to, and while I was in college, they're like, hey, the secret to growth is to accept and grab and agree to projects that are outside of your current capacity. And then you're forced to grow. And that's one of the biggest secrets. And it's uncomfortable, but it's true. And so I have made it a habit to try and be the first volunteer. The second volunteer usually comes after they see the first one. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be the first one, volunteer for everything. And I mean, honestly, that is a lot that's how a lot happened. Just raise your hand first.
Amazing. And there's that YouTube clip where the first person starts dancing, and it's like the whole they're at an old school festival a long time ago, and one person starts dancing, and it's like the herd mentality. It only takes one, and then one other brave person to get up, and then all of a sudden, like within a 3-minute clip, everyone's up dancing.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. And you just do it in the funnel world.
Yeah, actually, I mean, everywhere, everywhere. That was a principle I actually started learning, when I was quite a bit younger. And my dad was really very much I guess not to blame, but he's definitely one that taught me a lot of those principles. And just say yes to stuff, and you'll find out you actually have more capacity than you ever knew, And so when I was at ClickFunnels, I just kept begging for the next opportunity and next opportunity and next opportunity. I had never really done a lot of stage speaking in a business sense. I did a lot of musicals growing up, actually sang a lot growing up. Most don't know that. I'm a drummer. I play piano. I love music, but that was the only stage I'd ever done. So when I was at ClickFunnels, they were like, we need someone doing stage. And I was like, oh, okay, I know that's in my future. I thought I'd have more time, raising my hand. And, that's kind of how it happened for me, speaking on Russell's stage when he couldn't, it was really nerve-wracking. I worked my tail off afterwards. Yeah, after work every day, learning how to speak on stage. I would practice in front of the mirror, and I would mute his videos on my laptop, and I would just practice his physical movements in the mirror. I was like, I can't be as stiff up there. How does he move his head and his arms, And that's totally how it happened.
Well, you had a huge impact, so well done. You've done really well.
Oh, thanks.
So here we're all about like creating consistent clients and making sure that you have that consistent flow of clients, because too many times we see like the real roller coaster of online businesses and people venturing into it. It's really great, and then it's really crap, and then it's really great. So what's your secret sauce to having that consistent client flow?
The consistent client flow, like leads. the first thing I do is, I mean, I don't want to say first, but just several things that pop up from me. Opt-ins are not the same thing as a lead. And I think sometimes we'll think that our list size, while it certainly matters, just because someone opted in doesn't mean that they're a lead. A lead is something that obviously there's interest for the future product or purchase or whatever it is. So if you just have a list, there's a guy who I was going to do something, a project with probably about 5 or 6 years ago. And he's like, hey man, I got an email list of 3 million people on this product.
Wow.
And I was like, that's super cool. He's like, yeah, but I haven't emailed them in, years or something like that. And I was like, oh, they're not really leads anymore then. And just as much work would go into warming them back up as there would be just starting fresh, So I think getting consistent lead sources, I'll tell you one of my biggest secrets after that. So actually getting leads is, I call myself the original capitalist pig. I get a lot of hate for that. Whatever. It's one of the reasons I did it. Because I started recognizing that whenever I go launch a product, like I really only have two options. When I left ClickFunnels, I only had, I had a few people on the list, a few hundred people on the list. I'd been publishing a little bit on the internet, but besides that, like I didn't really have much. I was pretty much starting from scratch. And so I was like, well, I'm going to start from scratch loudly. Like I'm going to do it under a magnifying glass. I'm going to publish every failure, every success. And people get a chance to follow this jumping from my job publicly.
Yeah.
And turn a risk into an asset, And so I very quickly, it was probably like 6 or 7 months in, things were working, not always at first, but I was like, oh man, every time I launch a product, like, as a marketer, as going in marketing on the internet, we really only have two options. The first thing is that we can either create noise. I'm like, hey, check this out. I got this cool product. And then we create the noise in a place that's never existed before. Or the faster way, because the first way is so expensive. It takes a long time. The faster way is literally just to align with where noise already is. And I started realizing, like, even if I don't sell, my main things are not t-shirts and stuff like that. There's just fun things.
Although that one is really good. So if you guys are watching the video, like you have to show everyone what it says.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Resting
pitch face. Love it.
I'm gonna pitch you eventually.
Yeah.
But it's been interesting though, as I started recognizing that I could align with where noise already is. And so when I was, just to give an example, I did not come up with capitalism versus socialism argument. Obviously, that argument's been around forever. But I started looking in my marketplace that I sell my products to, and I said, what are the beliefs that this market has as a whole? What are the beliefs that this market is installing in its visitors? Like, oh man, at some point, someone is going to make them take a stand on capitalism versus socialism. And I was like, that argument has already existed. That's noise that has been there forever. I didn't create that argument, but I merely took a stand and made a logo and a t-shirt out of it. And now it's like I'm riding waves instead of creating the wave. It's way easier. It's one of the biggest secrets ever. And so I think for existing leads, like it's one of the reasons we get so many leads so organically. I didn't create this argument, but it's there. Yeah. And now I get to ride pre-built, pre-installed emotion. And obviously there's negative places you could use this in, but it's a very powerful marketing principle for good stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. Because when I worked in media, we would always piggyback media. Like that's like a total thing to sell magazines. Right. So if, COVID, right? It's everywhere. And I worked for a cycling magazine. So we'd have like the 6 safe COVID cycling routes, or COVID cycling etiquette now, and things like that. So you totally, am I right in saying you're saying create noise where noise has already been and just ride on the back of the noise, or create new? Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, and I'm selling my products on the back of that noise, because I used to do it the other way where I'm like, okay, now I need to get out there in the marketplace. I've got a great offer, something that's cool, and it's like, I gotta look at me over here. I mean, you think about what it takes to create a market. Everyone talks about red ocean versus blue ocean. That's a really attractive notion, but man, that is a lifetime of work to create an ocean, to make a market. Oh, like I'd rather find out places to find little blue oceans inside of a noisy red. That's way easier. That hack right there, a lot of consistent lead sources has come from that.
Perfect. I love it. Great. We've not ever had that before. That's very, very awesome. So if you guys are all listening out there, make sure that you hit rewind and re-listen to that so you really understand. You want to find a little blue ocean in a red ocean. You want to have that little oasis and dominate that.
Definitely.
Let everyone else create the noise, and you can just ride that wave.
Yeah. Learn to surf.
Well, there you go. There's a whole new book. You could have the blue wave and the red ocean.
Yeah, exactly. Right,
there you
right
go.
there.
Okay, so I mean, you've shared a lot with us already about the highs and lows, but has there been anything since you've left ClickFunnels and started your own business that you've thought, yikes, this is not so good? And like, how have you got yourself back into momentum to keep going in business? Because what I hate seeing is everyone saying that, I left my 9 to 5. And although you left a 9 to 5 in an entrepreneurial world, I left my 9 to 5 and then it was just plain sailing. And now I'm at 7 figures. Yeah. Just doesn't happen.
Yeah, it does not happen that way. I think it's weird because like I really look at this game in 3 separate roles and it really helps simplify what I'm supposed to be doing. We all say, I'm sure you've been on LinkedIn. And there's always that LinkedIn profile that's like, I'm a CEO, entrepreneur, founder, co-founder, VIP of sales, VP, blah, 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 blah. That's like, blah, blah, blah. They just start like beating their chest, And it's like, those are actual roles. And I think that people they start saying, I'm all these things. And it's like, there's really only 3 roles that you got to learn and they come in an order. It's funny. Like you think about there's a CEO, there's an entrepreneur, and there's a marketer. That's kind of it for a startup phase up until like usually 5 to 10 million and ish, I'm saying a big ish there, but like what's a CEO in the business of? Systems. So like if you're brand new and you just barely created your thing and you are a solopreneur, you have no systems. You're not a CEO. You're a CEO of nothing. It's like, so it's like, don't call yourself that, So then we go into what is an entrepreneur in the business of, and they're really in the business of solving a problem. That's it. But there's a lot of broke entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is not by nature a cash producing role. All they do is find a valuable problem and they solve it. Marketers, the byproduct of marketing is what causes cash. Marketers are in the business of, bringing the solution to market and saying, hey, we got this here. And so like when you first start this game out, and you are by yourself and you are solopreneuring it, which is totally normal and totally great. And, I'm glad to be out of that phase, but I also look at that phase with awe, like, oh, it was a good phase, but you're wearing a lot of hats.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest thing an entrepreneur is just starting out can go do to stay in momentum is give themselves grace for the fact that they're going to need to change hats a lot. Be like, okay, all right. So I'll tell you what I do actually. I learned this from a book called Double Your Profits. Super good book. It's like, hey, every day in the morning until 1 o'clock, only do revenue generating activities.
Yes, that's what I tell all my clients. Yep.
Yeah. And then till about 3 o'clock, do cost savings activities.
Oh.
And then at the end of the day, everything else.
Yes.
And what ends up happening is you have this new entrepreneur who gets so caught up in all the admin and they don't spend any of their time selling. There's no revenue generating activities. They are the number 1 salesman for their company and they don't do any sales based activities throughout the day. And so they die and they're like, I can't keep up with these costs. You go look at how they're spending their time. They're not selling at all.
Yeah.
And 80% of their time should be spent selling, And so then cost reduction activities and all the other admin stuff. Logos, slogans. I mean, I didn't get a logo till 8 months in. That crap doesn't matter.
Yeah, no. Instagram post. I'm not quite sure if I like this color or that color on the. I'm sorry, but no one's going to stop and not buy because it's that color.
No, has nothing to do with that.
Exactly. So, I mean, if you could go back to the beginning of starting your own business, knowing what you know now, what would you tell your entrepreneurial young self?
Yeah, I would tell myself, yeah, I had been doing enough coaching and I'd had enough success on my own to kind of have some of these rhythms in.
Yeah.
Took me 34 product tries over 5 years. I mean, it was failure after failure. Any sane person gives up by then. But
34 is 34 over 5 years.
yeah, took a
Wow.
long time. I didn't even know what a funnel was or heard of one till try number 17. There's
Right.
another 17 funnels while I was at ClickFunnels. So I'd be
Mm.
building these successful funnels for Russell, doing the same ones on my own, and they're not working. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
like what? What's going on?
the heck? I'm Russ. I'm his funnel guy. Like, good enough to be his funnel, dude. What's wrong? I can't tell you how embarrassing that was. I was like trying to like keep it under wraps. He'd be moving out another $1 million funnel every 3 weeks, and I'd be like, why aren't mine working? I'd be so ticked.
It's the
And
same
it
size
was
box. It's the same color.
like, yeah. Buttons the same location and down to the pixels. Like, what's happening? Here. And it was exactly as I was saying at the beginning. I was like, only wearing business owner hat and entrepreneur hat. I did not know marketer hat.
Mm.
And I asked Russell, it took 13 months for him to look at me after I delivered a funnel to him without him to changing it and going, good job, man. I only changed one word in the headline. And I was like, oh my gosh, dude, are you kidding me? That's so cool. And he's like, whoa, what? I was like, I thought you were going to fire me, man. You were killing all my funnels for the longest time. He goes, no. You were a good funnel builder. I'm trying to teach you to be a marketer.
Ah.
And I never realized there was a difference. I thought funnels were marketing. They're not.
Yeah.
And so going back to my early guy self, I would say, like, stop focusing so much on the product. It needs to be good, but you really have to focus on how the thing sells just as much, which sounds like a no duh, but we never do that in the entrepreneur world. We get
No,
focused on,
and I think that so much of it's caught up in, how does this link to that? And how does this email flow? And will it fire? And will it do this? And is that zap to this? And is that zap to that? I mean, that's why we take care of all of that for clients.
Yeah.
Because the real focus needs to be on, have I got the message right? Is it what they want? Yeah. Is it where they're at? Yeah.
All the noise in front of the funnel before they even see page one. It's like, that's where the success happens. Funnels, one of my little quips is like, funnels don't create cash. They just collect it. So it's your campaigns that create cash. It's the funnel that captures it like a catcher's mitt. So you got to have a good funnel. You got holes in your catcher's mitt. That's going to be crappy. But like, people were making money before funnels existed in the terms that we call funnel now. So
it's another good t-shirt.
Yeah, right. It's everything you do in front of the funnel that causes success. And that's what Russell was doing while I was building the funnels. That's the thing I didn't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, you had your head down building the funnel, not watching what he was doing.
Yeah, it took like 3 months in the same room for me to finally just look up. Like, oh, wait, what are you doing?
Hang on a moment. I'll just take my headphones off. So now moving forward, now that you know that marketing is, you've got to be on the front of the funnel for the noise and stuff. And you've got, obviously, you're one of the world's best funnel builders, without a shadow of a doubt. So what legacy are you wanting to create and leave in this online space now?
I'm at a spot now where the biggest legacy I want to leave is getting more clear on what marketing actually is and is not. It has very little to do with posting on Facebook. I have very little to do on Facebook ads. I'm really obsessed. If I could turn I can't turn my computer, but I have pieces of paper all over my floor right now, just everywhere, books all over the place. It's littered. And what I'm doing is trying to organize ideas in terms of, like, how do we better define what a campaign is? Because Facebook is destroying the term. It's not an ad. Campaigns existed way before the internet. What were the old school rich dead marketers doing who didn't have the internet? Let's learn their pattern and then apply the internet, and then the internet's no longer a crutch. That's kind of what I'm excited.
Well, watch this space. I can't wait for all those bits of paper to pile up and become a Pandora's box of what marketing really is.
Yeah.
Exciting. So how can people get in touch with you and keep following along on this journey?
Yeah, appreciate it. I honestly, probably the best place to go is makelaunchesgreatagain.com.
Nice. Awesome.
That's the .com. Yeah, and it's it's writing the very noisy and opinionated American election. It's not the capitalist pig move, me riding the noise. Make launches great again. So
neat. Okay, cool. Well, head on over there and we'll pop the link in the show notes as well. But I mean, obviously that's really easy to remember if you're out moving around while you're listening to this. And have you got something that the listeners can dive into with you, whether that's a paid thing or a free thing? It's totally fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, Make Launches Great Again is me filming my next course live in front of a live audience, just for fun, for free. It's me pulling out the framework from myself so I can recognize it. So it's actually a selfish move, but everyone gets to watch.
Oh, amazing. Sounds really good. All right, we'll head on over there. And this is the last soundbite, so thank you very much for being on the show. And this one catches everyone out. What is your favorite one-liner you give yourself to get momentum in your business every day?
My favorite one-liner that keeps me moving. I do have a line. There's a string of YouTube videos that I used to lay on my floor and listen to and visualize to almost every day. And there was one specific line that just kind of helps me keep the ball rolling when I don't feel like it. This morning, I did not feel like it, to be honest.
Well, thank you.
It happens to all of us. It happens to all of us. You know, it happens to everyone. It's human. But there's one line that was something like, it's really simple. Actually, it's two. The things that I get done today will dictate what I'm able to get done tomorrow.
Yeah.
If I don't want to do today's tasks tomorrow, I better just get them done.
Yeah.
It's really simple, super simple. The other one is actually this coin that I keep on my desk. It's obstacle is the way, which is the one you're probably familiar with, One Funnel Away. There's the obstacle is the way, though. On the back, it says, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way.
Ah.
I love that coin. I sucked at speaking, which is why I'm good at it now. I was totally broke. That's why I'm not now. People will use that as a reason to say, this is why I'm disqualified. It's actually the reason you are qualified, though. So it changes every obstacle and realizes that it isn't one.
Amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, it's been really enlightening. You've brought a completely different twist to any of the other people that we've had on the show. So that was amazing. Thank you. I'm even going to go back. I'm even going to go back and re-listen and have a real good think about what I've got in front of my funnel. And also, I love how you raise your hand, because my grandma, who was a massive influence in my life, said, see everything, dear, see everything. And I think that was meaning the same, like just never leave anything unturned, always go for it. So thanks so much for being on the show, and thanks so much for sharing everything with the listeners.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Penny.
Awesome. Okay, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Make sure that you head on over to ratethispodcast.com/Penny and leave a review, because honestly, reviews make my day and also make the algorithm's day. So jump on over. Thanks.